Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where we are continuing our rewatch of Bang Dream Season 1, currently on episode 11. This is a continuation viewing from episode 10, so let's just get right into it. And let us begin in 3, 2, 1, play. So, this is the episode where we can see a different side of Kasumi. And, to be honest, I actually fairly like this episode. I know a lot of people go around and say, poor Kasumi, and how sad it is that she got into this kind of state, but honestly, I think it shows a lot of character depth. Kasumi is not just the always hyperactive, Genki, optimistic girl, right? She has her mood swings. See? This actually is more similar to what we call beta Kasumi, right? So the Kasumi that was originally envisioned in the light novels from the very original works. Now, her character was later rewrote to fit better. Hold that thought. Let me skip the opening first. Alright, so as I was saying, this is reminiscent of Beta Kasumi, who their characters were later rewritten to better fit the personalities of the seiyus, the voice actors who voice these characters. So in this case, Kasumi was rewritten to better reflect Aimi's personality. Aimi is the seiyu for this character, and she is more of a cheerful. Well, she herself says that she's not the always cheerful girl that everybody perceives her in public, but at least outwardly, she seems a bit more similar to Kasumi, or us viewers, anyways. Always having a cheerful personality, always excited about stuff. I do enjoy seeing the quiet side of Kasumi. The answer is stress. That was a bad translation. again next Saturday. So, less than a week. I don't think her issue is a physical issue though. It's more of like a mental issue. Although to be honest, they didn't really say. Like, it could be that she lost her voice by overexerting herself, but somehow I don't think that's what the situation is. Why are they translating it to Kasumi-chan? Yeah, it should be stress. Or pressure. Well, they're the same thing. Which brings up an interesting question. Has she ever actually been nervous before? As in, panicky nervous? Like, even back in episode 3, when she went on stage to sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, not quite sure if she was ever that nervous. True. Just keep bashing at it. And it's definitely a great characterization as well, how her entire personality changes once she lost her voice. Hmm. Somehow I don't remember that scene. See? She hasn't completely recovered from her depression yet, or stress, but just by gaining back her voice, her personality changed again. Right, so it's definitely, you know, once the other members had their expectations up, the pressure just piled on to her to perform. It's not just her trying to do something that she wants now, it's also meeting the expectations of everyone else. You wanna like let go of your guitar first?
かすみが一番できないのなんて最初から分かってるし。そんなの気にしないで突っ走ってたじゃん。何今更気にしてんの？誰かに何か言われた？オーナー、あのばあちゃんか。私から聞いたんだけどね。あんたは周りと自分が見えてないって。それはそうだな。やるって決めたらこっちの言い分聞かずに突っ走って巻き込まれて怪我すんのもこっち。でも悪くなかった。迷惑っちゃ迷惑だけど、かすみに引っ張り込まれたからまた頑張ってみようかなって思えたし。最初かすみがスペースのオーディション受けるって言った時びっくりしたな。キラキラ星単音で弾くのがやっとだった。
Yeah, again, that's the most unrealistic part of this whole thing.
わかんないけど頑張るって。わかんねえのか。眩しかった。言い切っちゃうかすみいいなーって思った。ステージに立つの私にはまだ早いかなって思ってたけど、一緒に頑張ってみようかなって思ったの。私もかすみちゃんが何も持たないでステージに出て行っちゃった時眩しかった。すごいなーって。だから踏み出せたんだよ。私もかすみちゃんみたいにキラキラドキドキしたいなって。何か追っかけてるかすみすごい輝いてるんだよ。それがかすみの目指してるキラキラかどうかはわかんないけど羨ましかった。私ずっと立ち止まってたからかすみが引っ張り上げてくれたんだよ。アリサとリミリンとオタエとバンドやろうって。だって一緒にパートやりたかったから。それでいいじゃん。下手だとか受からないとか余計なこと考えんな。オーナーの言う見えてないって自分のレベルがわからないってことだよね。自分の立ってる位置がわからない。
Well, I don't.
動けばいいか。
I think maybe not quite, but anyways.
動けるんじゃない？かすみはどうしたいの？
As long as they're able to resolve
みんなで
themselves.
スペースでライブしたい。変わんねえな。ポピパは5人でポピパ。みんなで頑張ろう。フォローするし。一個提案なんだけど。私も。先どうぞ。いいよ。歌みんなで分担しよう。同じ。サビとかコーラスだけじゃなくて。私はここ歌う。私その後。
This was kind of reflected in the real world Popipa as well, as they gradually allowed other members to have singing roles within their band.
好きで好きでたまらないよ。今すぐ扉開けたいよ。でも踏み出せないのはなぜ？だけど三つのコードから君と一つになれたよね。もう夢はみんなのもの。この心震わせたい。星に願いをかけてはしゃいだ。あの夜空は続いてゆく。正直になれそうな自分に君が微笑んだ。そうだ。どんなに今が辛くたって何もうまくいかなくたって積み重ねたもの忘れない前へ進め。全身全霊ただ全身一心不乱に精一杯。果てしなくても遠くても見渡す限りに揺れる輝きが待って
And that about concludes Kasumi's arc where she lost her voice. Now, obviously, the main thing to talk about would be when Popipa were gathered in the park at the very end, where they pretty much talked it out, divided up the song, and Kasumi got her singing voice back. The rest of the episode is pretty, I guess, meh. Again, to me, one of my favorite things of watching this particular episode is to see a different personality of Kasumi, right? A quiet, reserved Kasumi is also quite charming in her own way, and definitely, I do feel like, to me, anyways, I wouldn't mind if reserved Kasumi made a reappearance in the next season, because, as I said, it's okay and it's great to have such a Genki and energetic character all the time, but at the same time, I feel like this kind of contrast adds depth to the character. We see another side of her, which we normally don't see. And this actually goes to a lot of other Bandori characters as well. I'm talking about the ones from the game, so the entire Bang Dream universe, and not just Popipa. We know that in the next season, lots of the other band's members will also make an appearance. Now, how many, we're not sure. At least all the vocalists seem to be making an appearance. Are we going to get cameos from other characters? Still to be determined. But again, I feel like one thing that, if I had to criticize about the characters in the game, as of now, or in the Bang Dream universe, it's that a lot of time they are kind of one-dimensional, right? They have their special quirk or something, and that's it. That is their character. So in this case, even though Kasumi was always such an energetic and Genki girl, always positive and whatnot, always noisy, it's nice to see another side of her. And yeah, I don't want to keep on repeating myself. Basically, I do feel like I would like to see that kind of Kasumi back again. I felt like the episode maybe focused a little bit too much on Kasumi's interactions with other characters rather than the members of Poppin' Party, but I guess in that kind of context, there's not really much they can do more, right? So, meh. And then finally in the park scene. So, on a little side note, again, this is the park was taken from a actual park. I'm not sure where, but again, Remy, the voice actor of Remy, who's also called Remy, she made a special show, I guess, for I believe it was for the fourth live, the Budokan live, where she showed off some of the famous places within Bandori, and that park was one of them. So you can go check that out. I believe it's uploaded on YouTube, or you can find it somewhere. I think. And okay, so the park scene. Now that when Kasumi was crying, and then all the other Puffin Party members showed up. I was half expecting, especially Arisa, to maybe give her a slap or something to slap her awake, because up to now it seems that even though Bang Dream is mostly, or it's an anime that's talking about bands, right? It's talking about girl bands. The way that they structure it and the way that they develop the characters is pretty reminiscent of idol anime, right? In fact, the whole Bang Dream franchise, as it is, it's kind of like a mix between bands and idols. So even though the subject matter is bands, but the way that they structure the characters, structure the stories and whatnot, it gives a very idol-like feel to it, right? And so there is a trope in idol anime where the main character needs to get into a slump and then be basically slapped out of it by one of their companions. And so that's what I was half expecting to happen in this scene as well when I first saw it. Obviously, that did not happen, and if you think about it, it doesn't really make sense contextual wise. So, there's no reason for it to happen. But again, it's just something to keep in mind, right? It does feel kind of like that, and also how it kind of is similar to an idol anime is in, well, basically you have this main character who is not afraid to dream big, right? So even though the odds are stacked against her, she has her goals set on something, she has her eyes set on something, and she's going to do her hardest to achieve it. In fact, I think this can also be applied to most shonen manga or anime as well, and which is probably why idol works are so popular. Because if you think about it, it's really the same for shonen works everywhere, right? Dragon Ball Z or One Piece, I Want to Be the Pirate King, or in any kind of sports anime or sports series. I want to go to the finals. I want to play at a coveted league or something, right? Always these kinds of big dreams put there. And even though the current situation is something like this, it seems unattainable, unachievable, but they work their hardest to get there. And that's why most of the time these main characters can also exude this kind of leadership charisma, right? So, as was mentioned by all the members, even though Kasumi is the weakest link, right? And if we're saying it as it is, she has the least experience on the guitar, and she has limited experience in singing. In fact, if we're going by realistic standards, she should not be anywhere close to performing live with her guitar. But again, that's for another time. That rant is for another time. I'm not gonna rant about that today. But even so, because of her personality, because she has 100% confidence, it inspires people to follow her. So that's what it is, and that's what also moves people to watch their story as well. Although, honestly speaking, I feel like maybe this could have had a little bit more impact if they spread out this voice losing, the period where she actually lost her voice, and stretched it out to maybe 2 episodes instead of just one. Here, I just feel like it seems sort of compressed and rushed, and we don't really see much happening. So the situation basically resolved itself within 1 episode. It seems to be a little quick, right? I would have liked it if they could have sort of simmered it, let it simmer for a little bit. But anyways, that was the end of this episode, the end of this arc. Next 2 episodes, we're getting into the finale where they audition and they perform their final live. So, I think this is it for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully, I can get them out before the second season drops, but if not, hey, I'll still finish it anyways. So, until next time, see you guys. Bye bye.